You've got a lot of nerve sending me an invitation to your wedding. Do you know that? Honestly, what even is this supposed to be, Daisy?
Oh, Minnie, don't be so mean to me. I'm just your little sister inviting you to my wedding. Are you really going to tell me that's such a bad thing to do?
Of course it's a bad thing to do when the man you're going to marry is my boyfriend who you stole from me. But you know what you did. Just why do you think I'd ever want to help you and Donald celebrate? I still can't even believe that the two of you are actually getting married.
Well, if I can be honest with you, I'm pretty surprised about it myself. We weren't even serious when I started seeing him. But I guess that Donald just couldn't get enough of me, and before I knew it, he was on his knee proposing to me. And it was a really, really beautiful and expensive-looking ring, so how could I say no?
Well, I'm glad that the two of you are happy, but I'm not going to be going to your wedding, so consider this me officially telling you that I won't be there.
Yeah, that's totally fine with me. To be honest, I didn't even think that you were going to show up to something like this anyways. But you're family, and so I figured that I had to at least send you an invitation as a formality.
Great, well thanks for understanding, I guess. If anyone else asks why I won't be there, just make up some excuse like I have to work or something, got it?
That's a great idea. You did always get more of the brains between us, and I'm glad you see there's no point in letting the family know the truth about us.
Oh, trust me, I don't want nothing more than to let everyone know the kind of snake that you are. But I don't see what good it would do. It wouldn't fix the damage that you caused. Just know that I'm not keeping quiet for your sake.
Yeah, whatever you say. Anyways, thanks for the excuse idea. Hey there, Miss Opal. I'm really sorry to be reaching out to you on your day off, but is now a good time to talk?
Oh, hello, Laura. I'm going to see you tomorrow, aren't I? What is it that you need to talk to me about?
Well, it's actually not about the lessons. I had a more private question that I kind of wanted to ask you. I actually just wanted to ask if you had a little sister.
Well, I do actually have a younger sister, yes. But what makes you ask about her?
I knew it! I'm just curious, though. Is her name Daisy? Because if it is, then is your little sister going to be getting married soon?
Hold on a second. How did you know that she was going to be getting married?
Well, actually, you remember the last time you came over for the lesson, we talked about my son, right? I told you about how he had been dating the same woman for a few years and was wondering if he was going to marry her. Well, it turns out that his girlfriend is your sister.
Wait a second, so you're telling me that your son is going to be marrying my little sister?
That's right. I actually just got the official announcement from my son the other day. Of course, I had met his girlfriend before, and I had always thought that she bore a striking resemblance to you. But then when I started to ask my son about it, and he told me what his girlfriend's last name was, it all finally clicked for me. That's how I figured out the two of you were sisters.
I see. So then I guess that would mean that your son is Donald then.
That's right! Oh, I really am just so proud of that boy. He's turned into such a fine man, and now he's going to be getting married. But I had no idea that he'd be marrying your sister. Sometimes the world really is just a small place, isn't it?
Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, I have to say I'm quite surprised to hear all of this.
I know, right? Who knew that our families would end up getting closer like this? It really is pretty crazy. Anyways, now I'm even more excited for my son's wedding. But I was wondering, since it's your sister's wedding and all, are you going to give a performance there? I really would love it if you could.
You want me to play on my cello for Daisy and Donald's wedding?
Well, you're just the best player I know, and I can already see how perfect it would be for those two to walk down the aisle while you play beautifully. Not to mention the fact that it would just make the whole day that much more special for the happy couple, don't you think? Of course, I would never ask you to do this for free. We'd pay you, but I wanted to ask you about this first.
I see. Laura, I'm really sorry about this, but I already told my sister that I wouldn't be attending her wedding. So I won't be able to perform there either. I'm really sorry about this.
Hold on. You mean that you're not going to be there for your own sister's wedding? But this is a huge deal. How could you not be there? Is everything okay? I feel just awful now that I know you aren't going to be there.
Oh no, I'm fine. Thank you for asking, and please don't feel bad. It really is just family drama.
Oh, but you can't miss your sister's wedding because of something that happened in the past. Besides, there are going to be so many other people who know you there. And my family is going to be there too, so please, won't you reconsider? It would be amazing to see you there.
Well, I think I'll maybe have to think about it, but it probably won't happen.
Well, what if you just bring your boyfriend to the wedding too? Maybe you could use this wedding to try and convince your boyfriend to have one with you too. I think Donald said he wouldn't have any issues if people brought +1s to the wedding.
Laura, I really do appreciate the consideration, but I think that I'm just gonna have to turn you down. Besides, my boyfriend is already going to be at the wedding.
Wait, what? What do you mean your boyfriend is going to be at the wedding? Is your boyfriend one of Donald's friends or something like that?
Not quite. My boyfriend is Donald, you see.
Wait a second, what do you mean that your boyfriend is Donald? That doesn't make any sense. What are you going on about?
Or was my boyfriend, I should say. I really am sorry to have to tell you like this, but the fact is that the boy I was dating was Donald. We broke up, and it was all because he proposed to my sister Daisy instead.
You mean that you were dating my son and I had no idea about it? How did that happen? I thought you were with your boyfriend for 3 years.
Yes, we were together for 3 years, but it was during that time he started having an affair with my sister, and in the end they ended up getting together and we broke up, and now they're getting married.
You mean to tell me that your sister and my son had an affair behind your back, and that then my son broke up with you to be with your sister? But this is the first that I'm hearing of any of this. How could Donald do that to someone?
You know, we have a lesson scheduled for tomorrow. If you'd like, you could come a bit earlier and maybe we could talk about this. I really would like to be able to give you all the details, as I'm sure you're feeling really confused right now.
Yes, please, if that's all right with you. I think we should do that. Maybe I could come a couple of hours before the lesson was supposed to start.
Of course, that'd be no problem at all. I'll think of all that I want to say and prepare some tea.
Wait a second, what's this? I thought you said you weren't going to be at my wedding, and yet here you are. Am I dreaming? Do my eyes deceive me? I certainly didn't think I'd be seeing you today.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not here to cause any trouble. I just had to watch this unfold with my own eyes.
I really don't get you sometimes, sis. You go on and on about how you don't want to be at my wedding, and yet you change your mind at the last minute and show up anyways.
Well, a lot has happened since I first texted you that I wasn't going.
Yeah, apparently. But I don't really care what you have going on. Does this mean that you've forgiven Donald and I then? Or is this just your way of trying to tell him that you still have feelings for him? Because I only want you here if you're ready to help us celebrate our wedding. Except too bad for you. You already said that you weren't going to come, and so we didn't arrange to have a space ready for you. So if you want to stay here, you'll just have no choice but to stand in the corner of the room and watch from there.
Excuse me? You mean you really can't even bring down one spare chair for me?
I said what I said. If you're going to be here, though, I hope you brought us some cash as a wedding present. I wasn't expecting anything from you, but you should have had the good sense to bring something.
Oh, give me a break, Daisy. Did you really think that I came here to give you and Donald money? I'm never going to forgive either of you for what you did to me, and I'm not here to celebrate with you.
Well, then what are you doing here if not to give us money or forgive us? Do you not think I was being serious? Is that why you're here? Or did you come to try and ruin the wedding? Because that just isn't going to work, so you can stop wasting your time now. You are never ever going to get Donald back, so you should just accept that right now.
You think I want Donald back? I never ever want to be with him again. Do you understand me?
You say that, and yet here you are at our wedding refusing to say what you're doing here. I know you're mad because I stole Donald and he went to a good school and works a really nice job and makes $1 million salary, but you have to let those feelings go.
For the last time, I am not still in love with Donald, do you understand?
Well, then tell me what you think you're doing here at our wedding right now. Because I am sick of you lying about not liking him when you're clearly here to try and steal him back. And don't get mad at me for not having a place for you when you're the one showing up after saying you wouldn't be here. If you're not here to give us money, then why don't you just turn around, go home, and accept that you've lost to me?
Actually, if you must know, I was invited by Donald's parents.
Wait, what? What do you mean by that?
I mean that I don't care if you don't have a seat for me on your side. I was invited here, and when I've done what I've come to do, I'll leave.
Wait just a second. What do you mean Donald's parents invited you? I don't understand. Why in the world are you even talking to Donald's parents? How do you even know who they are?
Oh, don't worry. You'll find out all of that soon. But I've got to go and get ready now, so I'll be seeing you.
What the heck was that? Why in the world were you up there on stage playing the cello with Donald's mom? Why were you there when Donald's mom is more than capable of playing beautifully without you there? I don't remember asking you to perform at my wedding.
Well, Laura wanted to perform with me since she'd been practicing so hard for so long.
That didn't answer any of my questions. I wanted to know why it was that you and my mother-in-law were doing a duet at my wedding. And why in the world did she even invite you to my wedding in the first place?
I really don't know what you want me to say. I try and attend all of my students' recitals, and if they want to perform with me, that's fine. But I've known Laura for 5 years now because she's been taking cello lessons from me.
You mean to tell me that my new mother-in-law has been your cello student for more than 5 years now?
That's right, and I was playing at your wedding at her invitation. She said she thought it would be great if we could both play. But she told me that she was too nervous to play by herself in front of everyone else, so she asked if I wouldn't mind duetting with her. Like I said, I'm more than happy to do that for my students.
So then, that's why you were invited to the wedding by his parents? Because you teach Laura how to play the cello?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were quite a few surprised faces when they figured out that I was teaching Laura how to play. And even after I went home when we were done, I got a bunch of texts asking why I left the wedding early.
But then, I just need to be sure about this. You didn't say anything to Laura, did you?
Say anything to her? Just what might you be talking about there? You mean like how you stole her son from me while we were dating? Or that you two were having an affair during the 3 months Donald and I were together? Or the fact that you hid that you were my sister from her all that time?
Yes, all of that! All of it! You didn't actually tell her any of that, did you?
I'm sorry, but I think it's now fair to say that Laura knows all about it.
You're kidding me. Why would you do this to her? Why would you tell her about all this?
Well, we actually had no idea just how close we were to each other. I mean, I had no idea she was Donald's mother, and she had no idea I'd been dating her son. But the secret kind of come out when she found out that you and I were related, and I felt like I had to explain it all to her.
But you said that you weren't going to tell. Even Mom and Dad don't know the truth, right? So then why did you have to go and tell Laura everything?
I'm sorry, but it's not easy keeping a secret like that to me. I mean, for years I had to pretend like my sister didn't steal my boyfriend from me. But I just couldn't lie to Laura when she asked why I wouldn't be going to the wedding and insisted that I be there with my boyfriend.
But why did you have to tell her? Why couldn't you have told her after the wedding? What am I going to do now?
You can't actually think that I'd ever lie to one of my students, right? Besides, I've known Laura for a long, long time. I can't stand lying to her.
I mean, this is seriously bad. I mean, I could be in a lot of trouble. And here I thought Laura was starting to like me. But if she knows what I did in order to start dating her son, then... hold on a second. Just how long has Laura known the truth for?
Well, I'd say maybe about 2 months or so at this point.
But then why hasn't she said a thing about it to me? Do you think she could be plotting something against me? Or was her performance her way of telling me that she doesn't care at all about my past? I don't get it. Does she like me, or doesn't she?
Yeah, I really wouldn't know. I'm curious though, do you know the name of the piece that she and I played today? It's called The Day of Rage.
Rage? The song is called Day of Rage?
That's right, it was actually Laura who picked out the arrangement. She said it would be a good way to express how we were feeling about the wedding.
But then, wouldn't that mean that she's actually mad at me about this? Doesn't that mean that Laura's just furious about what I've done then?
You mean you really couldn't tell from the music? Anyways, it sounds to me like you and your new in-laws have a lot to talk about. Good luck with that.
Miss Opal, I just wanted to thank you so much for yesterday. I was nervous, but we really did it.
I thought you were just wonderful. You've really come so far and it shows in every pull of the bow you made.
That makes me so happy to hear. Thank you so much for that.
Of course, and I just want to wish you all the best in your future cello endeavors.
What do you mean? Are you quitting teaching?
Well, no, but I just figured after all that my sister had put you through, keeping me as your teacher would be awkward.
Of course not. You think I'm going to let my son's stupid mistakes or your sister come between me and the best cello teacher I've ever had?
Oh, I see. Well, yes, in that case, I'd love to continue our cello lessons.
In fact, several family members and friends came up to me saying they might like to start the cello as well. So I'd be happy to introduce some of them to you if you'd like. As for my son, I've decided to cut him out of my life. At this point, I want nothing more than to forget all about him.
You're cutting your son out of your life? Is that a good idea?
Of course, he was lying to me about who he really was this whole time. And he hurt someone I care about, you. But anyways, I really don't want to talk about the subject anymore, so if it's okay with you, I'd like to carry on as usual with our weekly lessons. Is that okay?
Yes, of course, I completely understand. I'll see you next week. After that, I got calls from Daisy complaining that our family and Donald's were cutting them both off entirely. Apparently the rumor mill did its magic at the wedding, and soon all the guests knew the truth between Daisy and Donald. In the end, the two of them decided to pack up their things and start a new life elsewhere. But since he had to quit his job to do so, Donald had to restart his career, with a much lower salary. As the stress built up, I heard that he ended up having other affairs where he was spending all of his money on other girls. I have no idea what Daisy is going to do about any of this, with no other means to provide for herself, but that's a mess for her to get out of. As for me, Laura introduced me to some of her family and friends, and my number of students more than doubled. I was actually able to quit my job and start teaching cello full-time, a dream of mine that I've had for a long, long time. I'm even going to try and rent studio space now that I have the means. Obviously, I wish that things could have gone differently between Donald, Daisy, and I, but what happened is already years in the past, and is pointless to think about changing now. But in some ways, I guess I have to be grateful for the two of them. After all, if Daisy hadn't stolen Donald from me, then I might not be getting to do what I always wanted to do with my life. Life is funny like that sometimes, I guess.
Hey there, Hilda. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, hey, Michelle. Yeah, I think the last time we saw each other was 2 years ago at the school reunion.
Well, you should know that I've seen you plenty of times since then.
Oh, really? Well, you should have said something to me. I would have loved to catch up. Does that mean that you still live here now? I thought you still lived back home.
No, I finally moved away when I learned there wasn't anyone worth marrying there. But I have noticed you walking around town clinging to someone's arm. Why didn't you tell me that you got married?
Sorry, what do you mean? I'm not following you.
Oh, come on. There's no point in playing stupid with me. I know that you're married, and I find it unacceptable.
Hold on a second. Let's set aside marriage entirely. Why would it even matter to you whether or not I was?
Oh, come on. Can you really not guess at all why I might care? You remember how much better looking I was than you in school, right? I was prom queen, and all of the boys wanted to have me back then.
Right. I guess now that you mention it, I do remember that you were quite popular back then.
No duh, I was popular. And I should have been the first one out of us to get married. But all the good boys back home didn't want anything to do with me after high school. Not only that, but it was clear that everyone there was way beneath me anyways.
Well, I guess it's good to know that you're still as confident as ever, Michelle. You certainly did have a high opinion of yourself back in high school, too, as I seem to recall.
Well, anyways, I think that I owe you an apology of sorts.
Sorry, you want to apologize to me. I'm not sure what you would even say sorry for.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for stealing your husband. In fact, I know that he picked you up from the maternity clinic, right? I guess that means that you two are having a baby soon. But I'm still not going to let you get away with getting married before. And so, that's why I stole your husband from you. So don't worry, I did reach out, just not to you.
I'm sorry, I really just have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I'll tell you. I was talking to your husband and told him that he should leave his wife and marry me instead. And that's why I want to apologize to you.
Michelle, I'm sorry, but I still just am not following you at all. What husband are you talking about?
Why are you still playing dumb? I know all about your handsome husband that you were trying to hide from me. You clearly weren't going to introduce him to me, so I had to take matters into my own hands. But don't you worry. Things went just fine for me, and now he's all mine. I'll even be sure to pay you off for our affair. So how about you just sign the divorce papers and hand him over already?
Look, Michelle, I only have a boyfriend, okay? I'm not married.
What are you talking about? Of course you have a husband! Stop trying to lie to me. You know that I've been able to steal your men from you ever since we were in school together. Just accept the fact that I've done it again. And also accept that you'll have to raise that baby of yours all by yourself.
Okay, well, I think I understand what it is that you're trying to tell me with all of this. But I'm not sure that I actually understand what any of it means. But if I have this straight, you're telling me that you've started an affair with a man who you know is married, and that you want to marry this man, and that's why you've told him to divorce his wife for you. And then you messaged me to tell me all of this because you think this man is my husband.
That's what I've been telling you this whole time.
Right. I see. Well, I don't know how else to tell you this, but I'm not pregnant?
Wait, what? What do you mean that you're not pregnant?
Not only am I not pregnant, but I'm not even married. Again, I have a boyfriend, but I don't have a husband.
Oh, come on. When are you finally going to stop with all of these lies? You just can't accept the fact that I've beaten you and that your husband chose me over you.
No, I really am telling you the truth right now. I did go to a maternity clinic with a guy. But tell me, was the guy you saw me with about 6 feet tall with a mole under his right eye?
Yes, that's exactly the guy that I saw you with. And he's your husband. He is your husband, isn't he?
Now that man is actually just the director of the maternity clinic, which is where I just so happen to work.
Hold on a second. That guy is just the clinic director.
That's right. And that guy is actually married, but he's not married to me. So I really don't know how else to say this, but I think there's been a big misunderstanding here.
No, this can't be happening. How can that guy not be your husband?
Well, he's not my husband because we're not married. Because, again, I'm not married.
Well then, that means that I've won. I've been right this whole time. I was always going to get married before you. Not only that, but I'm going to get married to a doctor who owns his own practice. Oh, this is way better than I could have hoped for. I get to be married before you, and to a doctor of all people. It might not have been the way I originally planned it, but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, I guess you really are going to get married before me, aren't you?
That's right. But at least you can find solace in the fact that you didn't get abandoned by your man.
I mean, I think that you might have more things to worry about than just floating to me.
And why is that? Because I had to have an affair before this man would have married me? Who cares about having to pay for anything when I'm going to be with a doctor? I was already planning on paying you off for the affair with who I thought was your husband. So this is nothing to me. And now, I'm going to be the happiest woman in the world and never have to work another day in my life.
Uh-huh. Well, good luck with all of that, I guess. I was actually going to quit my job at the clinic at the end of the month anyways. I was going to try and find work in another place. So, I don't think that you'll be seeing much more of me.
Oh no. Are you being serious? That really is too bad. Ha ha ha. I might have let you try and squeeze my husband for some more pay or something if you had just been a little nicer to me.
Actually, I think that this is just all the more reason to leave my job. I don't want to get involved in this any more than I already have. So again, good luck with the marriage, I guess?
Hey there, Hilda. I was just wondering how your new job's going. Have you basically settled in?
There has been a lot of paperwork since I started here, but I have to say that I prefer it to the old place. Not to mention the raise that I got for working here.
Well, there you go. Sounds like things are going well for you. Actually, kinda wanted to talk to you about something.
Is it something that we should talk about over the phone?
No, it's not that, but I do have to send you a few photos that I'd like you to look at.
Well, that's fine with me, but is everything okay?
Well, I just know how we've been. Going out for about 6 months now. I thought that we should talk. I've hidden this from you for a while, but I think you should know that my parents are really rich.
Oh, really? Well, I appreciate the honesty with me.
I mean like tens of millions in assets rich. Dad and I actually work at the company that my dad manages. Take over the company after he steps down.
Wow. That's a lot of money. I was not expecting this. Although, you know what? It does explain some of the fancy brands you own and the nice watches you're always wearing.
Well, my dad always told me to always dress up or, at the very least, put on a nice watch. But that's not the only thing. You see, the reason I didn't tell you any of this is because my parents are scared that a woman would take advantage of me for my family's money. So that's why I lied about who I really was to you for all this time.
I can see that now. Oh, but it's not like we bonded over material things. We just had a lot in common.
I know. And that's exactly why I know that I can trust you. You never even once asked for me to pick up a bill. You're a hardworking nurse who makes her own through the world, and I respect it a lot.
Well, thank you. That really does mean a lot from you now that I know the truth.
But anyways, I know that we also both had in our profiles that we were looking for something long-term, right?
Yes, but what makes you say that?
Well, that's one of the condos that my dad owns. Costs about $2 million, but he told me that he's willing to let us move into there.
This is a lot to take in.
There's still more. Thing is, that my dad is quite sick. The doctors have only given a year, 2 at most, to live. So, basically what that means is that as his only son, I'm actually on the verge of taking over the company and all of his assets. I know this was going to happen one day, but it's never ever felt this real before. And the truth is that I need someone that I can trust with all of this, and that's why I'm saying all of this to you now.
Well, I really appreciate you talking to me about all of this. I mean, I'm shocked, but glad it's all out in the open.
Then I have one more thing to tell you, and I wouldn't be mentioning this if I really didn't think you might be the one. The other day, my dad gave me my inheritance early. He thought it would make things easier on the taxes when it came to, well, him passing.
Right, I've heard that you get quite a bit taken out for inheritance tax.
Yeah, but if he did it this way, he wouldn't have had to pay a cent. All I have to do is pay a cool $1 million now, and I'll get all the inheritance tax-free.
I guess so. I don't really know as many details about that.
Well, the amount of money I got was in the millions, although because of the legal process, I probably won't be actually getting the money for another 6 months or so.
Wow. Well, look, Hank, I'm glad that you've told me about this, but those are numbers that I never even dreamed of having in cash.
I know, but here's what I want to ask you. Do you think I could borrow some money from you until I get my inheritance.
Wait, what? You want to borrow money from me?
Well, the thing is that until all these processes can take place, I still am just me. Besides, I'm gonna need some money for legal forms for all this. And, well, I know that you make quite a bit as a nurse, right? Please, I promise that I'll pay you back in 6 months. This is for our future.
But I don't get it. Why do you need to borrow money from me to do this? But that's just it. I don't understand something like this. I don't really understand. Can I just ask you a couple of questions first?
What more do you need to know? I've already told you everything.
Well, you're telling me that your dad is sick and only has, at most, a couple of years to live, right?
That's right. It's something that no amount of money or doctors can cure.
Okay, well, do you know the name of what it is that your dad has?
What do you mean? Why would that matter?
Well, it's just that I am a nurse, and I do know a thing or two about diseases. So I was just curious about what it is that your dad has.
Oh, right. I actually don't know the name or anything like that, but I can ask my dad.
Of course. I only want to help. I guess you can call it my nurse's instinct.
No. I really don't think that's going to be necessary. I just need a little money to tide me over until my dad, until he's gone.
But you said that you were going to have to pay $1 million to somehow cancel out your taxes? I'm sorry, but I just don't have that kind of money.
Oh, I see. Well, okay. Maybe we should talk more about this in person. I'll see you later.
Hey there, Hilda. It's been a while.
And just when I thought I'd gotten rid of you.
Oh, well, I need to apologize to you.
Apologize to me for what?
I did it again. I stole another one.
Another one? What are you talking about? You stole something?
That's right. I stole your husband. I actually saw you two going on a date with each other about a year ago, and I remembered what you told me, that you had a boyfriend but weren't married. So anyways, I struck up a conversation with him after you'd got home for the night.
Oh, you mean you did that again?
And, well, we just hit it off.
I feel like I'm having some serious deja vu here.
I also heard that he's going to be the heir to millions any day now from his father. That's why I stole him from you. I know I messed up last time. This time it is your husband. But now all of his money is going to be mine.
I'm still not married yet, Michelle.
What? But he told me you two were married.
I actually did have a boyfriend about a year ago, but I broke up with him, and now I'm completely single.
Wait a second. You can't be serious about this. He told me that he was married to you, and that if he left you for me, then he'd have to pay when you sued him for his affair with me. And so he told me that before anything could happen and before he could get his money, he would need me to give him $500,000.
You mean that he told you all of that?
That's right. He told me everything.
And he told you about his sick dad too, I bet.
I knew it! I knew that he was your husband all along!
No, I'm afraid you're wrong about that as well. That man is my ex-boyfriend, and him and I broke up because about a year ago he started to stink of a scam.
A scam? What do you mean? I don't understand.
He told me about how he was so close to inheriting his father's business and wealth and assets and everything. He even promised me an amazing condo. He said that it'd only be a matter of time, 6 months at the most. But for some reason or another, he just needed to borrow $1 million from me. He told me that he couldn't go to his parents and they didn't have the money for him, and that he would need the money to avoid paying taxes on his inheritance. But when I asked him about his sick dad, he couldn't even tell me what it was that his dad was sick with. And when I asked him about the condo, he couldn't give me an address either. And he still couldn't give me a good reason for what it was that he needed so much money from me for. I started to get really suspicious, and so I decided to break things off with him.
But you mean, the money that he asked for, the $500,000 to break up with, was... But he told me that he was going to pay me back for all of that and more as soon as he got his dad's money by being free of you. Are you telling me that all of that was just a scam that he was running on me?
You didn't actually give him that much money, did you?
Of course I did. I was about to be rich. The whole reason I texted you in the first place was that I could try and rub it in your face, remember? He told me that if I gave him that money that it would be enough to settle the lawsuit that you'd file against him.
Well, try asking Hank yourself.
Hey, Hilda. He's not picking up my calls. What am I supposed to do? Where do you think he's gone?
He's probably run far, far away with all of your money by now.
But that can't be. That wasn't just from my savings. I took out a huge loan to be able to give him all that money. He told me that he'd be able to repay me back quickly. He told me to think of it as a tiny investment for a big payout.
I mean, I guess it was a big payout for him if you think about it. This is the second time that you've done this. Whatever happened with my old boss anyways?
Well, his wife didn't want to divorce and neither did he. But she did sue us both for the affair and then I was told to never come around again.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you got the short end of the stick there.
And now you're telling me that I just had the money stolen from me again? But what about all the fancy cars that he drove? The clothes, the watch, everything? He looked totally rich.
Yeah, I mean, the more you think about it, the more it was always too good to be true.
But how could he trick me like that? I thought that we really had something. I thought that I'd finally stolen your husband away from you.
You really haven't changed at all, you know that?
But what am I supposed to do? I won't be able to pay a loan that huge. You have lots of savings, right? Lend me some money.
No, this is just ridiculous. You need to stop this and look at what you've done. I haven't stolen anything from you, and I'm not responsible for your sick bullying trip.
But please, 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 please. You have to help me.
I don't have to do anything. In fact, it sounds like you have much more serious things to be thinking about than coming to beg from me. After that, I blocked Michelle on everything. I actually heard at the class reunion where I had seen Michelle at that she borrowed money from a lot of different people. Apparently she didn't pay many of them back and she slowly lost all her friends. So I'm sure that when she had to go to the police and describe what had happened to her, that it was quite the twist of fate for her. I have no idea at all what happened to her, or if she ever got out of her jam. If she did, I only hope it was through getting back at Hank somehow. But it really is none of my business.